Right, guys, now I know it doesn't look good, okay? But hear me out, because this goal has so many layers to it, and there's so much being missed when it comes to this goal. Everyone's going to have a go at Casemiro. I understand why they're having a go at Casemiro. He's got to drive out. But there's a deeper conversation that needs to be had here. And just on the goal itself, there is so much more at play. Most goals, there's 5 mistakes that lead to the goal. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's one individual error. And of course, this is a huge problem here. He allows Kai Havertz, who's actually come out and already said that he could see that Casemiro was there and that he was fine and that Casemiro should have come out. But there's the initial question of him as a centre-back. We'll get to that. But let's get straight into the goal, because I don't want to mess about with this one, because there is so much that's been missed from this goal already, and I find it really odd. I'm going to zoom right in, and we're going to talk about Kobbie Mainoo. Now, Kobbie Mainoo is a big part of this goal, because if you go and watch it back, what you will see is that actually, in terms of who is at fault for this goal, absolutely Casemiro. But he's at fault. He's at fault. He's at fault in a frivolous way. And actually, Johnny Evans is at fault as well. And the only one on the screenshot, and actually there's someone off screen as well. I would suggest that Erik Ten Hag, and again, this is what this channel's about. Two things can be true. His tactical plan was good. We'll get to that as well. But playing Casemiro doesn't work. And to be fair to him, as the game went on, he was in quicksand, lads. He was all over the place. You could see, God, and obviously nowhere near that level. But I've played in games. We've all played in games, haven't we? Where we're like, please don't pass me the ball. I feel vulnerable. I feel absolutely naked on this pitch. Not literally. That'd be bizarre. And you wouldn't be able to play. The ref wouldn't have it. But there's so many problems here. Let's go through the goal and then we'll talk about him as a centre-back. Because Onana gets the ball. Now, body language from Casemiro, poor. Really, really poor. Okay? But what I would also say is that Kai Havertz, he is arching his run there, right? He's absolutely arching his run. So that's the wrong way around, but you get what I mean. He's arching his run because he doesn't want that pass to go to Casemiro. He wants to make Onana have to play because there's no one in this area of the pitch at all. But there is a pass on, a really simple pass on, and one that Amrabat absolutely wants. But if we come back to Kobbie Mainoo, and I say this in jest in terms of it being his fault, if you go back and watch the goal, he goes, go long. He says, go long, okay? But, and Onana only sees Kobbie Mainoo. And these are the moments, right? But I guess this comes back to Erik Ten Hag and sort of the muddled thinking at times of when to play short and when to play long. When it comes to this team, it is muddled in that sense, because I think if this is a more confident team, a braver team, they utilise someone like Amrabat, who played a whole season at Fiorentina last year, where he constantly was on the ball. He constantly got on the ball, popped it about, and if he plays that simple pass to him, he could play that ball to Casemiro, and he could play that ball to Kobbie Mainoo. In terms of a press, you've got Havertz trying to do his thing. You've got Declan Rice, who might, arch his run and make life a little bit difficult, but you've got Odegaard, who's nowhere to be seen. Saka's not going to be a problem there as well. So if this is a more drilled team and a more confident team that has a very clear plan that we're playing out from the back, then you play it short, he plays it here, go here, or he can go here. And again, I think it's negative body language from Casemiro because he's kind of showing his back to him. But again, Kai Havertz has already suggested, he's kind of got in his way in terms of that pass. And if you look at Onana there, you can see that he's already making that move to that left-hand side. But he could have played a simple pass to Amrabat. He doesn't do that. But that's not it. There's so much more. So if we move it along. Now, the second thing that's been thrown at Casemiro is the fact that he doesn't get here. And he doesn't get to this area here quickly enough to cut out the pass. And again, we'll come back to the fact that Casemiro should not be playing as a bloody centre-back. It's ridiculous in modern football. But for the goal itself, let's just break out the why. Why is he doing anything here? Why is he not sprinting out? Absolutely basic. Completely right to critique him on that. But in terms of getting to this position here, this is the problem of the amount of injuries that this team has, right? Because if we go to the game here, right? Rashford, let's just touch on the injuries for a second. Rashford, Martial. Now, you might like or dislike these players. Fernandes, massive loss for them going forward. Mount, I don't know if Mount's injured or not, but he's certainly not playing very well. Martinez, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Varane. That's so many players. And so that needs to be remembered. Does need to be remembered. We'll come back to them, the good tactical plan that actually Ten Hag had. But back to the goal now, because it doesn't stop there. And I think when you get to that point where you've got Johnny Evans as your centre-back, that ball gets played to Kai Havertz, and Johnny Evans is a 36-year-old who is not dictating the dribble here. If this is Virgil van Dijk, and again, I understand I'm comparing the two, but the reason I'm comparing to the two is because I think we need to understand why things are happening. And so for Johnny Evans, he is a little bit scared here. He feels a little bit vulnerable himself. As I say, the guy's 36, right? And he's thinking, what's safe? What's safe is me not getting done, put on my bum. So he delays and delays and delays and delays, and he absolutely allows Havertz to get to here before he plays the pass. So if we move it on one more, by this point, if Casemiro stands here, it could go anywhere. And what's more likely, and again, if you watch it back, he's got two decisions. So again, you can put this one on Casemiro a little bit by this point, but if Kai Havertz is actually here, what's a nice and thick one there, isn't it? If Casemiro's here, then maybe if Kai Havertz is over there, then Casemiro can maybe make that move to that front post. Maybe he can do that. But by the time he's got here, he would have already had to make a huge decision to either wholeheartedly go, which is dangerous to a point because you're leaving this space here and you're leaving it completely free and you're utterly going for that block, which he could have done. But again, this is a midfielder playing at centre-back who doesn't know what he's doing. And he feels exposed. And so he stays here, which he thinks is a better position. It's not a great position at all. But there is a problem there when it comes to Johnny Evans, allowing Kai Havertz to get all that way. But that's because he's 36. And so that makes life difficult. And he's exposed on that left-hand side by that point. Lastly, of course, it's great movement from Trossard. You've got to give him that. But by this point, he's so close to the 6-yard line, he's going to drill it across. He knows where it's going to go, and Trossard's able to get there. Can Wan-Bissaka do that little bit more? Again, I think Trossard's a very, very smart player. So I think that needs to all be remembered here. So many players affected here. And then just generally a simple way of playing and understanding means that he's able to play the ball out. That said, of course, I just don't think it's just that one layer of mistake for the goal. Because people make mistakes. It's about the second mistake, the third mistake, the fourth mistake, and all those mistakes are made. And so it's on Onana as well, it's on Amrabat as well, it's on Ten Hag as well in terms of having a plan. And when you've got someone like Amrabat you've decided to use, and a centre midfielder playing at centre-back, pop it to him and let him pop it back. Especially when the press isn't ideal. I thought that was how they wanted to play. That said, two things can be true. As we've spoken about, there were positives. But I have to say, I don't understand Casemiro playing as a centre-back. I think I've made that pretty clear by now. And the reason I'm saying that is because what is being a centre-back about these days? Is it about aerial duels? Not really. Is it about one-on-one duels? Yes, it is. And so look at all the great centre-backs that are out there, or just general centre-backs. Either you utterly sit back and be compact, which actually there were some elements of that, which they did really, really well. And as I say, the overall play of the game was solid enough. But it could have been solid with Aaron Wan-Bissaka as that centre-back. Because actually, going forward, there are actually some really nice moments from Man United. And you saw the Erik Ten Hag kind of philosophy moving forward, which we might have in the next one. Yeah, we do. So here, you can see, this is really brave, right? This is really brave to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, both full-backs up. And I think this is Dalot, which we're going to talk about his performance. I thought he was absolutely superb in a new role. They kind of had to play. And again, Ten Hag putting together a nice little tactical system. And the reason they had all those guys forward is because he wants to do that. He wants to empty the midfield, as we're told regularly. And again, two things can be true. Amrabat played really well. There are positives in this game. I thought Dalot had a great game. We'll touch on that in a sec. Garnacho had some really, really good moments. Had Ben White on toast. I think he only won 3 of his 9 ground duels against Garnacho in this game. So there's real flashes there. I thought Diallo was really, really good as well. And I thought Amrabat had a solid game and had a bit of a telepathy with Mainu. But to come back one, and this is why you can't have Casemiro as your centre back. This was the plan that he put in place, and he did. I liked it. because it was compact. You went like this, he kept everyone together, and this is actually a switch that made way to Trossard on this side. And he's got so much time and space, but because it's Trossard who's playing, and I was thinking after about 60 minutes, actually this is a game for Martinelli to really put the pressure on and to pin Wan-Bissaka back. But they were staying compact, and actually what they were doing was really, really interesting. And I liked it because it was looking to give Casemiro that protection. Let me show you this one. Because what they were doing, you've got your normal back four, right? So you've got, let's highlight them. You've got Dalot and you've got Wan-Bissaka. And there was a little bit of a sort of a Tottenham and Postecoglou vibe to them, actually. Because what happened was McTominay kind of would go and get it for, essentially play as a centre forward. Diallo staying high, Garnacho staying high. But Dalot in particular came and played kind of inverted a lot of the time. Wan-Bissaka actually came and did that at times as well. And it gave that little bit more protection once you lose the ball. And the other thing to remember when it comes to Arsenal is in terms of in transition, especially in a game like this when you've not got Martinelli, the only player that is going to be able to hurt you in transition, really, is Saka. Can't get Højlund off. Get off. So it was a nice tactical plan because it looks to save Casemiro a little bit, right? But again, you could have played Wan-Bissaka in a different position. I would have played Wan-Bissaka here. I would have taken Casemiro and maybe played him centre midfielder. Again, two things can be true. Amrabat played really well, but Casemiro, of course, could have sat there. He's done that this season. Or if you really want to, take him out. For God's sake, take him out. And then in terms of the right back, that you can hide a different player out there. You just can. Like, do I know who that player is? Is it McTominay and you play someone else up front? I know it's the bare bones. I get that, right? But let's just chuck someone like Eriksen there. And I know you're going to hammer me for that. But my point is you could have put someone there and he has to deal with Trossard, which is not that difficult. Arsenal have not been great down the left-hand side. They focus all their attacks down the right-hand side. And if they are playing an attacking way, you could have put Mainoo there, put Eriksen in the middle. I get it. There's not legs. There's not a lot of legs there. But, you know, he's an international player. And if you lose the ball, when you've got these players that are tucked in that little bit, like you did with Dalot and Mainoo, and say they break, Wan-Bissaka one-on-one would have been in a much better position. He's also very defensively minded, and he would have sprunt. Wow. I just said sprunt. Hit the like button if you want me to use the word sprunt a little bit more. You can't play Casemiro as a centre-back in modern football. This isn't the old days. You could try and be as compact as you want, but it just doesn't work. And I think the thing to talk about when it comes to Arsenal, yes, they were conservative, so pragmatic. Win the game. Win the bloody game. Saliba superb in this one. Won every single duel. He was absolutely phenomenal in his in that challenge. It was like Bobby Moore against Garnacho. Absolutely amazing stuff. But once they got that goal, you know, they just got the job done. They got the job done. And coming back to Man United, as I say, there were some positives. You've got all those injuries, got all those problems. I thought Dalot was a really interesting part of it. Dalot here, you can see in these central areas, just getting involved a little bit more. Won a lot of his ground duels, made a lot of tackles. We can see him here again in a similar position. And this was because of Bruno. Bruno wasn't available, so he needed a different way of affecting the game. And actually, I really liked him in this role. I thought it worked. I thought it could be something that could happen down the line. And again, here in a really good position. Here in a really good position, driving. He's able to play that ball to Diallo, and it doesn't totally find him there. But this is what you want to see from Man United. You want it, you know, and again, the personnel matters because you want that to be Bruno Fernandes, right? And then from here, you've got a lot more going on, and you don't really want that to be McTominay. Final thing I would say is I thought the crossing was poor. I thought, look, and this comes back to what Arsenal have done really well. They've become absolutely elite at the ugly things that people don't talk about. And that is going to a back five near the end of the game and every single one of those players being 6'2". It gets to the point where actually it's kind of subconscious in terms of the crosses that need to come in. You know, going back to the screenshot, several times you had McTominay getting in the box and Højlund getting in the box. But the cross never came in. And the cross needed to be perfect. I think they could have crossed the ball more. I think they could have crossed the ball earlier. But the problem you've got David Raya who's going to come out, or you've got monsters in there who are going to go and head the ball away. So it is getting to the point with Arsenal where they're so businesslike, so professional, that it feels a touch futile at times. In terms of the stats, You've got Man United, who, as I say, we've spoken about it. A few positives there. Wide players, there's a freshness there. You've got some players that are still playing with an element of freedom, but it was impotent. It was really, really impotent. And that's a problem, but it's also something that I think can be given as a bit of a plaudit to Arsenal, who didn't play well. I don't think they've played well for a little while, if I really think about it. Not in that sort of absolutely destroy an opposition style, but it's about creating winners, and it's about creating a team that is so well coached and so well drilled, and it's about getting to the final day, and that is what Arsenal did. Casemiro cannot be centre-back again. Change it, because that's defined the game at the end of it all. I'm with Roy Keane. Never thought I'd say it, but I am. Actually, I like Roy Keane. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you soon.